Perfect. How's it going?
Good yourself.
Fantastic. Hope this works. I've been testing it, so hopefully it comes right, but it should be good. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I can hear you a lot better than I could the other day when I was watching you chat with Guy and BK. I couldn't really hear you, so at least I can hear you today. That's a good thing.
Yeah, I should have had these headphones in. That's why, because my mic's got some weird stuff going on my phone, so it's much better like this.
It's just awkward holding my phone like this. Okay,
No stress.
there we go.
How's things going? You're in Netherlands, so that's what I wanted to ask you. It kind of seemed like your last fight, you packed up all your stuff and just hightailed on out of here.
It was crazy. It kind of just like all happened. I was actually gonna make the move to Cape Town, and then Rod's family had already been here for like 2 years, and Ronnie was making the move. He came over for my fight, so he was with me for like probably 2 months. He came from the Netherlands to come and train me for the fight, and he was like, "Look, this is a situation. I'm going to be moving over to the Netherlands permanently now," because he was pretty much flying, for work, and then in between SA and here. And then he said, you have the opportunity to come with me. I'll get you work there. He's actually opening up a KO Fighting Fitness here in Den Haag, so
Okay.
in the Netherlands. Um, and he's like, look, I'm going to have a gym. Do you want to come over? Like the opportunity's there for you. And I just said, look, I think right now I'm not in that space in my life where I want to make that big jump. I've also got family in South Africa. And then, things started to change on my fight and just with training, and you start to realize that this is the biggest thing with being in a camp is that, and this is what I always say with guys that move around a lot with their camps, is that you don't form bonds with or like your permanent routines if you're jumping between camps. And with me, Rod's not only just my coach, he's like a father figure to me and a very good friend. So, it's hard to build those kind of bonds if you're just going to make the move, to another gym. Like it's very difficult for me. So we've even though we've been together for a while, we've still got a huge journey ahead of us. So when I started to realize that it was becoming reality to not be with him anymore, and the possibility of like, where do I go in South Africa and who do I train with, because his knowledge is phenomenal, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I kind of just, like, I literally had a flat full of stuff. I've got a car that I still have in South Africa, and I just was like, I made after all my medical bills with EFC, I went and just was like, look, if I don't do it now, I just went and bought a ticket. And when I say I up and left with the shit on my back, that's pretty much what I did. But you know what? You get to a point where you realize that I got into a level where I was like, I don't want to use the word, but almost like complacent. Like I didn't have that drive or that push. And a lot of people say that to me in the fight. There wasn't that fire like that, you know. I was just in a weird place in my life, and I needed to really, like, I'm really grateful that even though it's never nice, I'm glad that I lost, because it gave me that extra push to just go, look, I need to make a move and I need to make a drastic change to my life if I want to better my career. And I need more fights, man. I can't be fighting every 2 years. It does, even though you say that, we like to say that ring rust isn't a thing. It is a thing. Like you've got to be active. You've got to be in the cage. And I want to get more fights. I want to advance as an athlete and have that time. So I had to make the drastic change. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's all part of the growth for athletes. I mean, you guys have got to test what's out there and make big changes. I think those
Yeah.
often bring great reactions. So I mean, obviously, that was you just mentioned something there about people were saying, obviously with the Manon Fierro fight, a bit of fire missing there. Obviously, I mean, you got to see a lot of Manon before you had to face her. So I'm sure you guys had a bit of a game plan and so on. And like these things happen in a fight. So just, I don't know if we've really had much of a chance to kind of hear your side. Just what happened in your mind in that fight?
Yeah, I think, it's so hard to explain, because if someone who's never been in that position, or hasn't been, in the cage and fought and really know the sport, sometimes you trigger and sometimes you don't. And you often hear athletes say that, no excuses. You know what? I lost the fight. She showed up on the day and she won, like she did. But a lot of it had to do with me beating myself. I think in some ways gave up. I didn't push hard enough. Obviously I fought all 5 rounds, and it's not like she knocked me out, or it's not like, I was submitted at all. But at the end of the day, I didn't show up and give my best performance. And I say it often to people because they're so quick to judge and be like, oh, it was a shit fight, and excuse my language, but they're so quick to judge you and to put you down, but they don't realize that when you go to work every day, you don't show up 100% at work. Like, you have your days. You have your days when you go to work, and if, for instance, if you're in sales, you're selling 2 or 3 cars, and then you go to work and you don't do it. So it's the same thing for us. Sometimes we show up and you either click and you fire, and all goes well, or you don't. And it's so hard to explain, but I just couldn't fire. Like, I was there in the fight, but it was almost like I was almost watching myself just fight, but there was no fight, if that makes sense.
Sure.
It's really difficult for me to explain, and I think that's the best way I can explain it. There wasn't really that fire. And I'm disappointed because we put in so much training, and I think I can sit and say there was a lot going on in my life, because there was, but that's no excuse. At the end of the day, I chose to show up in fights, and I was there. But I felt like my warm up was so much better. We were backstage, and I think I hit Rodney in the face like a couple of times in the Oaks backstage. Even Drick was like, and I think I did more in my warm up than I did in the fights. And you can sit there and you go, man, like, I could have done this. Like, even my jits, man, like, I was watching the fights, and it took me a long time. I'm going to be honest. It took me so long to watch that fight. Like, I wasn't prepared to watch it, because I knew that I was so disappointed in my performance, because I knew myself, like, that I let her win. Like, I was just so disappointed. So eventually, when I got to watch the fight, I was like, me and Rodney were sitting there, and he's like, "Man, what were you doing?" I was like, "I have no idea, but come on, dude, that's not even jiu-jitsu." Like, we were so angry. But at the end of the day, these things do happen. Like,
Sure.
Whatever. And the biggest thing for me is that a lot of fighters will go and they'll give up, and they'll be like, "No, that's it. I'm not going to show up anymore. I'm done." And for me, I'm like, no, I'm not done. Like, if anything, it was a bad day. It was a loss, whatever. It's a loss on my record, but I'll come back stronger, and I'm just going to use this to kind of fuel me just to get better. You know what I mean? And I think I needed it. I'm grateful. It's a hard way to go about it. Like, I wish I just had that kind of push on my own, but sometimes, I mean, we're all human. We kind of go. Rodney always says I take the difficult way around things. So yeah, it was a good push, and I think it's going to be a positive thing for me moving forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, speaking about positivity, we got to see, and I mean, I've kind of been hearing the mutterings of what's happening around in the MMA world. I didn't realize to the extent, but we saw today officially that you have officially signed for
Yeah.
Aries. So 2-part question, just talk
Yeah.
us through how that all came about, and immediately what happened online this evening. A lot of people, a lot of questions. Are you relinquishing the belt? What's the relationship with the EFC? And just give us a rundown on what's happening there.
Yeah, I was obviously approached by them, given the opportunity. It's really, like, great to be able to travel and do what you love as well. And that's the biggest thing that attracts me to Aries, is that, I'll be able to fight all around the world, not just within South Africa. And don't get me wrong, love my country, I love to fight there, but I kind of want the exposure internationally as well, and be able to tour here and kind of see the world at the same time. I approached the UFC and said, look, this is the situation. At the end of the day, I'm still holding the bantamweight title. I want to fight for UFC. It's really in their, like, the ball's in their court now. What they want to do with me if I'm fighting for someone else. There is other athletes fighting for other promotions. So I don't see why I can't. I'm grateful for the opportunities that EFC have given me. We've got a good relationship, and I hope it continues to be that. I hope that I can fight, for Aries and still come and fight for EFC as well. It's really like I had to make the choice for my career. This is another step to move forward. And, for me, the biggest thing was getting more fights. Unfortunately, with EFC, I'm not getting enough fights. The pool is very small for female athletes. Even though I'm holding because a lot of people always say to me, oh, you're a bantam and a flyweight. At the time, I was also the flyweight champion. you're not taking on fights, but I wasn't given any opportunities. It's not that I was, not wanting to fight, is that
Yeah.
there was no opportunities. And, you're not going to fight someone that just comes into EFC. They're also going to fight for a title shot. So at the same time, EFC do and are doing the best that they can to put on fights and to give me fights, but unfortunately, just the opportunities aren't there. So I'm not willing to sit around and wait for fights. I need to make a move. I'm happy to fight for EFC still and fight for Aries. I hope that I can have the opportunity to still do that. I still hold the bantamweight title. I want to defend it. I want to come back and get my flyweight title as well. I definitely want to come in and fight Manon for that again. I believe that's, given the right opportunity, right headspace, and I'll definitely come back and win that one. So yeah, let's see what they do from here. I believe that I'm hoping that things work out the way I want them to, and I can fight. Obviously if they don't interfere with each other. But yeah, like I said, it's in the ball's in their court now. Graham must decide what he wants to do, but I'm here to fight. I'm a proud EFC champion, and I always will be. I'm grateful. I'm also grateful for the opportunity. I think the great thing about Aries being a new promotion as well is that just like EFC with their female divisions, I got to make history there and kind of build with the divisions, and I get to do those Aries as well, and that's important for me. Being able to pave the future for other female athletes. So that's why I'm pretty attracted to this as well.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you, I mean, it seemed for so long that the female divisions were being built up almost around you. You were the spearhead of
Yeah.
of female MMA in South Africa, and we saw the fighter series come in, and we're like, okay, great, because you've taken ladies who could probably realistically fight at flyweight and bantamweight, and we're going to mix up this pool from all over the world, great talents coming in, and the
Yeah.
divisions are just going to come alive. But then it all just disappeared again, and now the two greatest champions we have in the female divisions are with other promotions or linked to other promotions. So do you
Yeah.
think there's actually going to be any future for the female divisions in the EFC? Well, not for 2020 realistically, but going forward, do you think that's any
Yeah.
priority
Not
of
for anyone
theirs?
at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite scary. Like,
Look, I think.
yeah,
So
sorry.
what do you say? Huh?
No, I was just saying it's quite scary because I mean, seeing you sign was like the last, was like almost like the straw that broke the camel's back. Because now we're like, well, there's nobody left now. You know what I mean? There's like a couple of people that have been inactive for a couple of years, but that's kind of them saying, well, that's it for us. We're not really going to focus on the ladies' divisions anymore.
Well, look, I think let's start with them bringing in the fighter series. All right, it was awesome because we saw 10 athletes come in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, EFC then went through their stage where they didn't have, I think, the money to bring in athletes from all over the world. It's expensive for them
Yeah.
to have to fly these athletes over. So I think that's where, when you're trying to compete with people being paid in dollars and making really good money overseas and fighting over there, and then you're trying to bring them out, it is difficult. And I understand that unfortunately EFC did go through a hard time, and I believe that things are looking positive, which is great to hear. I hope that they make the effort to bring those athletes back in, because like you said, those girls can pretty much fight at flyweight and at bantamweight, and I believe they want to fight. I mean, I chat to a couple of them now and again because they're this side, and they love coming to fight in South Africa and for EFC. So I believe there is great opportunity to keep that going. I don't know why they didn't have more fights, but I believe it's because they went through the financial difficulties that they did. And, these things do happen with every business. It happens. So I'm hoping that now they start to find their feet. Unfortunately, now with this all happening with the coronavirus, every company is going to take some damage. So we don't know where it's going to go from there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's see what happens there. I believe that was pretty much the reason why they weren't bringing athletes out, is because of the financial struggle they were going through. Because I believe there is a great number of females there that could make some exciting fights for the division moving forward.
Yeah,
with regards to myself and Manon, where did Manon sign for now? Brave, yeah. The biggest thing I think for EFC, and this is where it's difficult to say, but I think if they didn't try and compete with other, say, promotions, and everyone jumped on board together and they had fighters fighting for everywhere, then I think it would be a lot better. Let's look at Drickus, for instance. Drickus is fighting for KSW. He makes his name there, but he also gives exposure for EFC because he's an EFC champion going to and fighting overseas. So I don't believe it should be a negative thing. I think we should put a light on it and have a positive look at it. And I think EFC needs to start doing that, because if you are going to start doing that, letting your athletes fight elsewhere and make money when they can't compete at EFC, not only are your athletes a lot happier, but they then, they have the opportunity to give EFC exposure, because they're always going to hold the EFC name. Like myself, when I go over and I fight for Aries, I'm going to be known as the EFC champion, you know what I mean? So it gives them exposure as well. So I think if we take the negative light away from it and EFC start maybe working with, well, not with them, but you know what I mean, just allowing us to have more of the freedom, then just like Drickus has had the freedom to go fight for KSW and, and have exposure there, and just don't necessarily burn the bridges, like, make everyone happy, because at the end of the day, it's not that, and please don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't want to be at the EFC anymore, because I do. I believe that I'm still an EFC champion. I'm going to fight for them. But if they don't allow me to, then, what can I do? I have to make the decision to be able to fight more and earn money and travel the world.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think if they look at it from a different aspect, it'll be better. But again, I can't speak for them. They're going to see this and they're going to answer it. So
yeah, 100%. 100%. No, but it's absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's hard enough to make a living in this game as it is. You know what I mean? And never mind being a champion who's inactive. That's one of the worst things to see. It's so hard to see talent being put on the sidelines as it is, and then you've got champions in divisions that really need a bit of life, and they're being sidelined, and it's really hard to see. So I mean, I'm sure everybody understands your decision, and hopefully we get to see you in the AFC, but more than anything, we hopefully to see you competing and representing South Africa. I think that's just as big for us, you know. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about is the immediate matchup, which was quite exciting. I mean, it's the rematch everyone wanted to see here between you and Risen. I know Risen was shouting off the rooftops to trying to get that rematch. So talk us how exciting that's going to be for you to get that first run on international waters against an opponent you're quite familiar with.
Yeah, I think it's exciting, but at the same time, it's been so long since we fought. She's going to be, she's trained, she's going to be a different athlete now. I think the cool thing about me, and this is what I'm excited about the fight, because everyone's like, oh, but you fought her and you beat her. Yeah, but it was a great fight, first of all. I mean, I watched it and I stood on the edge of my seat. Did I perform the best I wanted to? No. So this gives me the opportunity now to kind of have that, almost like what's the word I'm looking for? I kind of know, okay, this is what happened the last time when I fought her. When I fight her now, I want to go over and beyond that, and I want to show how I've grown from then to now. So it kind of gives me that level of going where I can see my growth over the years. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
So that's why I'm excited about it, because I get to see how far I've come from who I used to be and the athlete I was then. So for me, that's the biggest aspect about it. I know she went onto social media and she was like, oh, EFC wouldn't give her the fights or whatever. But I think at the time, because she had lost against me, she needed to fight other athletes. I don't understand why, or I don't know what happened back, or in what's the word I'm looking for, man? I lost my words.
Well,
I've only had one cup of coffee since I got home. But I don't know what happened in the background, and I don't really know what went on. It wasn't that I didn't want to fight her. It was that she kind of needed to fight someone else to come back into the number one contender position. There was talk of other fights for me as well, but that didn't play out. So, these things happen. Promotions, have to do what they have to do. And I think she's really excited about it. Look, I think for me moving forward, I would have liked to maybe have had newer opponents. But it's not a bad thing, It's not a bad thing to have someone that you fought before, because you get to see your growth and you get to go, look, this is where I was 2 years ago, and look how far I've come. And I really want to showcase that, because I keep saying I want to be able to showcase it, and I do. I believe being here, I'm going to put myself in a position where, because I'm training with so many new people and different people, as opposed to people I'm used to, I kind of almost have that feeling of being in a fight and fighting someone different all the time. So and I'm going to put myself in a lot more of those positions. And the kickboxing here is just phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
kickboxing in the Netherlands is crazy, crazy,
Yes,
crazy,
it's
crazy.
the home really. It's
Um,
the
so yeah, that's why I'm most excited about the fight, because I get to really just test where I've grown and where I've come.
cool, man. And so what is the actual deal? Is it that card as it is, or well, you can't really say let's focus on your fight. It's just postponed. It's still in the works. Like as soon as this is kind of all
Yeah.
figured out, that's going to be the fight. It's not going to be. It's just kind of on ice for the moment.
Yeah, I think, with everything going on, we kind of don't know what's going on. It's really difficult. And the great thing about all the promotions at the moment in areas is that the safety and the well-being of not only the fighters but the staff as well, and everyone around the world. So I think it's a smart move for now, just to go, look, let's see where things go. But it pretty much is just, it's on us. It's the card is there. You can go in online, you can see it. Phenomenal card, by the way. Some
Yeah,
really good fights
it's
on
like
there.
a
I'm
home.
excited about it.
It's like a home card. It's like you're fighting in the
Yeah,
UFC.
yeah, it's really cool. So I'm excited about it. But at the end of the day, we kind of all just need to see what happens. This unfortunately has hit the world hugely, and we
Yeah,
just gotta focus on staying healthy and safe. And then, yeah, once we know how we can move forward and how we can put on some MMA shows for everyone, then that's where we go.
100%. Jam, thank you so much for your time, man. Stay safe, stay warm,
Oh,
and
thanks so much for having me. It's always a pleasure chatting to you, man.
lovely. Hopefully, we get to see you out there soon.
You are.
Stay safe.
Keep well, hey,
You
and keep
too.
safe,
We
guys.
will do.
Cheers,
Ciao.
eh?
Bye.